This show is dedicated to all the racers that put it on the line every weekend and to all our families who taught us how to do it. Welcome to Racing with Dio. I'm Dio. This is Dirt Track Danny. We're here in Premium Video Productions where we keep all the video that we shot for the last 5-6 years. And believe me, we have got plenty of it. I've gone through it, and this week's show is Racing, Thrills, and Spills. We're going to have all kinds of thrills for you. Danny, we've had some excitement on the racetrack this summer.
Sprint car racing is exciting, no matter whether you're at Putnamville, Bloomington, Kokomo, wherever. Thrills, spills, chills, every place in Indiana and other parts of the country.
So let's take a look at what happened out there this summer, and don't forget, woo, Racin'!
1, 2, 3.
Woo, Racin'! Hey, here we are at Putnamville. What a salute from the fans, Danny. They cheered us on. Big woo racing. Joe Roush pushing off there. But
Batteries sitting down there.
where?
On the tire.
I guess I left my batteries. Donnie Beechler, Terre Haute, Danny. Front end brakes.
Looks like his head's caught between the cage and the track. He's trying to get it loose. The track personnel there to assist him.
Guys say, Donnie, you all right? He says, yeah, get it off my head. Jack Hewitt, always a great qualifier at Bloomington Sheldon Kinzer Classic, Danny.
Driving it down in the third corner. Pretty hot there, Dio.
Great distance.
Parked it right by the meat wagon for assistance.
At Hewitt, he's always thinking. Kokomo Speedway, Tony Flew out there in the lead. Chris Beaver. Tony Jarrett, the red car, racing with Billy Rose. Jarrett's got that competition well and hooked up, pulling the wheels, Danny.
Tony Jarrett cowboying it down at the bottom of the racetrack. Gets her sideways. Down into one. Oh, man, lifts that left rear. Dio really working hard.
Jarrett down the back stretch, driving up on Rose. He's going to make up for it, goes to the top, comes around. There's only one problem, Danny. The wall is there. Easy little tumble for Jarrett, some fuel coming out. Let's talk about some showboating for TV. Roll her out, flop her down. Lift up the visor, flop it down. He needs a little help.
Is that a new dance deal? The Jarrett flop?
I think so. He refuses medical attention, throws his neck collar. I guess he's all right. He's fine. He's walking away. Derek Davidson, number 33, the Snow White removal car. Always action to watch. Into 3 at Kokomo. On the top, pulls the front wheels and misses the wall, unlike Tony Jarrett. Putnamville.
Rick Barlow forgot to slow her down, took a wild ride.
Barlow flipped. Tom Black flipped in that also. Oh no, what's this little car going to do? Cheese and crackers, it blew up. And there's a guy in it. He comes out. He's on fire. It's another flop. And he's out. We're racing into the wall. Richard Griffin at Manzanita. Over the wall, almost into the motorhome. Field goal attempt is good. No injuries except for somebody on the motorhome fell off. More Manzanita action. End for end for end. Destroys the car. And it's time for a barbecue. He's all right. Dave Garland reaches for a tear-off, gets in the turn, gets corn-fused, bounces into the wall. A big flyer. Garland's all right.
Well, Garland says, I don't need this anymore. Throws the steering wheel out.
Number 45, the Ventura Cowboy. Corey Krusman in that Drake chassis, takes it into one at Manzanita, hooks a rut, gets up in the wall, and tips it over. Second year in a row at Manzanita, the first race, he's tipped it over.
Coming down for the checker flag at Manzanita. A little sideways, little tank slapper, tank eater. And a Tommy tip over.
Kenny Irwin, the USAC Racing Kokomo Ben Bowen's machine, driving it down into one. That's a sound you usually only hear in the cockpit race fans. That was a crash.
A lot of damage to that Bowen Oldsmobile number 10. A lot of parts fell off. They're still falling off. The brake pedal's on the track now.
And Brett Earlywine picks it up. I'm surprised he didn't pick it up and take the competition well and get straightened. Here we go. We're racing Bloomington early in the year. Brian Hayden on the outside. Tony Elliott. Kevin Thomas takes the lead. Hayden gets tagged by Thomas. Hayden gets tagged by Darlin. Comes down the track and gets tagged by Peterball, Wilkins, and McCord. A three-time tip over, and all three drivers are all right.
Sometimes the racing line you take's crowded. Bobby Kinzer doing some barrel rolls at Bloomington.
Granite City, Illinois. Tony Sturt in the V6 shoots out in the lead, but second place, Jack Strandman takes her in, jumps the cushion, tags the wall, and tips it over.
Jason McCord at Contos Payless, number 4. That's tough on the car and the motor.
Looks like he's got a little too much offset on the right front now. Jason's all right. Kurt, the Rooster Hawkins, does a wheelie, jumps it on the left front, tips it over. He's done qualifying. They'll fix it though.
Mark Casella qualifying, takes it into the corner. Good save.
Bloomington, Indiana. Billy Peterball tags Mike Mann. Mann gets into Jason McCord. McCord end for end on his side. Another Payless tip over.
Bloomington Speedway. Terry Pletch off the racetrack upside down. Double flip.
Richard Thompson, the other guy, tips it over. Nick Adams off the top. Eric Byrne spins. Brian Black into Eric Byrne. Malsey. This isn't over yet, Danny. He's rolling down. Now, racers, don't put your hands on the roll cage, because when you do that, it hurts. It pinches. That's Brian Black. Check this out, Danny. Can you see it? Slide by Raceway Park.
Derek Davidson, Bloomington, not a good night.
Peterball on the top. Tony Elliott on the bottom, racing at Bloomington, Indiana. Ray Morgan in the red, number 7, chasing around. Peterball on the cushion. Ray Morgan on the huggy pole. Morgan takes into 3. He's got a big push, push, push. Snares Peterball, and Peterball gets a free ride. Little throttle stick, tries to climb the wall, but Billy's all right. But as he climbs out, the boy is a little upset. Dad shows up, things are okay.
Kokomo Speedway coming down for the start of the feature. Jamie Fredrickson couldn't make it through the first corner.
North Vernon, Indiana Sprint Week. Billy Rose runs over Butch Wines, collects Kevin Thomas, Brad Marvel, and the rest of the pack. Granite City, Illinois, Randy Bateman qualifying into the wall. He mauls the ground, breaks off the right front, but he'll be back to race another day. He's okay.
Putnamville, Bill Rose leading the pack of sprint cars. Danny Williams Jr. behind him. Danny Williams Jr. blows his motor. Troy Link gets involved. Spewage of parts everywhere. Trey House, Putnamville.
Ride 'em, Cowboy. Trey's all right. Knocked the front end off. They got it fixed, and he'll come back another day to race. Kenny Dunlop kills the front end of his car. He'll get another car and return another day. More Putnamville action. Dean Billings gets tangled up with Will the Thrill Newland, gets on his head, and everybody else tries to dodge him.
Red flag comes out for Dean Billings, and we...
Modified action. Steve Blair gets tipped over, turns it over, lands upside down. A lot of concern about this car.
Well, he's going to have a hard time getting out of there, but he pops the top off and pops out of it. Steve Blair.
It's Super Blair. No, 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 no! Don't hit the remote. There's still more thrills and spills to come. Woo! Racin'! Mike Mann, Putnamville, gets into Joe Roush, sticks it on the left side, tips it over. Maxie Ball slides to a stop so he doesn't run into him. Brian Hayden in the brand new Creekmobile, driving around in Kokomo maiden voyage for this car. It's looking pretty good. Danny down in 3 and 4, pulls up the front a little bit, definitely transferring weight, brings it down the front straightaway to complete lap number 1 and plants it in the wall. I guess we don't have to worry about it being new no more.
Jason Metzinger, Kokomo, qualifying. Wall! That's not what he's supposed to do.
Well, he knew there was a cushion up there, but he didn't realize it was 3 foot tall and made out of concrete, I believe. Silver Crown car, Sumar Classic, Brian Gerster in the Lefevre car, turns it around, does almost a 360, but stalls. Richard the Gasman Griffin in the Tamale Wagon, qualifying, takes him to 3, sticks it, big bicycle. He could have went out of the ballpark, but he saved it well.
Chuck Leary trying to qualify, Sumar Classic. Talk about a dusty racetrack. It's always dusty when you do that.
He dusted the crowd. Jeff Hunt, Eldora runs into Ryan Newman.
Get it on you, man.
The Potter machine comes to a stop, climbs out, watches where he walks right in the mud.
Out there tonight.
Andy Mitchner at Kokomo. Upside down, that's not the fast way around.
Mitchner trying to be the USAC National Midget Champion, tips it over, hurting his chances, climbs out, sneaks out underneath the cage. Now he's going to do his workout. I'll tip it over myself. Mitchner looks at the damage, he'll come back to run, but he's still second in points. More midget action. Turn 2, Jack Rennie gets tangled up with Tracy Hines. Hines gets tipped over. Jeff Sands joins him, and Ryan Newman, I think, in the yellow car. Bruce Sims, qualifying Eldora, sets her in 3, turns it around, spins her around, and parks it down the bottom.
Russ Freeland, Eldora. That's as close as I've seen a race car get without getting on its noggin.
Belleville Midget Nationals out in the middle of Kansas. Richard DeGassman Griffith in the Coons car. The red and white car gets in the back of the spin it. Turns it sideways. Leland McSpadden in the Bondio car runs over his left front. Leland's going for a big ride. It sticks on the left side. Almost gets hit by Griffin. Turns over twice in the air. Comes down, lands on the cage. It's good night, Leland. He's out because the arms are up and waving. Almost gets a hand. Rolls it over another time. One more time on his head. There comes a muffler down, clunk. And Leland has tipped it over big. Now, let's take a look at it from the outside at real time, Danny.
McSpadden over Griffin, gets some airtime, spewage all over the racetrack, parts here, parts there, and it comes to a stop.
Hoosier Hunters transfer in the qualifying race. Tice Carlson goes underneath Tony Stewart, takes a look, gets down the loose stuff, pushes up. Tony gets loose, they tag into the walls, Carlson. It's a big tip over for Silver Crown cars.
Back at Kokomo Speedway, feature racing action. Almost got the flag man.
1995 Holman Classic. Eric Gordon's got the lead. Mark Cassell in the 96 gets run over by Kevin Doty into one. No steering. Reed gets into him. There's cars going everywhere. Dave Garland runs into Cassell and tips over, and Gary Fisher slides to halt and run into his hometown buddy. Kevin Doty going for the leader. Eric Gordon bicycles, tries to save it. Ain't no saving this one.
More Terre Haute action. Down into the first corner. John Stambro. Not a hard flip, but not a good one. U.S. Dirt Nationals, Terre Haute Action Track, World Outlaws. Down into number 1. Jimmy Brewer takes a wild ride.
King Kinzer barely avoids him. Back racing 360 action. Adam Grimm. This is a big crash, race fans. That one hurt, but the lights are out. More Terre Haute action. Kevin Thomas in the 410 race flips over his Applebee car. KT's all right. He's in there trying to unbuckle and get out, but the car is junk. 360 qualifier. They go into turn 1. Somebody spins, gets up on the wall almost in the infield. It's the unknown 360 tip over.
More wing action, Terre Haute Action Track. Greg Delansky sideways, Kevin Briscoe into him, and there's Terry Pletch. 3 cars parked.
Kenny Irwin in hot laps in the Hoffman car. Sticks her in 1. Runs her out to the fence. First turn, first hot laps. Salem, Indiana, Trackmaster modifies, little start wrestle, and up on the wall, almost over, shucks the tires off, and piles them up. Bill McKinney into the gold car, spins to the infield. Thrills everywhere when you go Trackmaster racing. Super modifieds, IRP. Somebody pounds the wall, and they come along, and they're still spinning into this because somebody blew a motor, Danny, and these big cars don't like to run on oil. More Trackmaster modified. The late Charlie Sentman in the 99, the 39 car. Bice leaning on him, a little pushing and shoving, and Bice gets Sentman spun out for the heat race win. Little adjustable air brake. More Trackmaster modifieds at IRP. Basic starting heat race into 1. Contact, pile up. Wall poundage, car poundage, carnage. They crash them well when they crash them.
Hoosier Dome midget action, Will Rubin, Tony Stewart sideways, Jimmy Sills. Tommy tip over, parks it against the wall. Tosses out that steering wheel, he doesn't need it now, climbs out. Raceway Park midget action, Jeff Hunt, Ronnie Johncock underneath, slides up into him, wheel contact, wall contact, car contact. They're going which way, everywhere, and there's Ryan Newman upside down. It wasn't a good night for the midgets at IRP.
Don't touch that remote. I'll break your hand. How about that race in action? We have shown you some thrills and spills and all kinds of stuff, and it's been exciting. Danny, what do you think? Should we find some more?
Well, let's go through all your vault here. It's cavernous. See if we can find some more thrills, chills, and spills for you race fans.
Let's take a ride with the in-car at Ventura, Wally Pankratz. Listen and enjoy.
Raceway Park action. Jay Drake up, around, on his tail, on his top, back on all four.
Welcome to Racing with Dio. I'm Dio. This is Dirt Track Danny. We're here at Arizona Sports Shirts. They're coming out with a new line of Gotta Racewear. Perfect for Racing with Dio. Also, you can come here and get your Racing with Dio stuff. 100 Gasoline Alley. But what's on this week's show? The 4th annual Indiana Sprint Week. 4 days of racing, the best non-wing sprint racing around. We were there to cover it. Ought to be a lot of surprises because there's a new venue to start off with for a lot of these guys, Danny.
Well, it's a different racetrack. They don't normally run North Vernon on a weekly basis as they do the other tracks in the series. And it's tough to pick a favorite. You have the old veterans like Kevin Thomas, Dave Darland, Tony Elliott, but watch out for those new guys, Billy Peterball and Robbie Rice.
So first race, a lot of things are going to be equal, and then we're going to get back to the old stomping grounds. Bottom line is, race fans, it's going to be some racing, so let's get to it. 4th annual Indiana Sprint Week, Twin Cities Speedway, North Vernon, Indiana. Danny, this place has got a little different shape to it.
Well, that's right, Dio. It's a little different racetrack, but it looks like it's in good shape. The race fans are ready for some good sprint car action. Even the young fans are ready. Look at that kid with the helmet on. Is he worried about a dirt clod?
Going to be some dirt flying here because there's a great car count showing up. But you know what's really good about this, Danny? This is kind of like a come-home week because all the racers go and race 4 days together, a lot of fellowship. Peterball family shows up. There's mom, dad pushing the kid out and getting him out there. He's developed into quite a talent. Kurt the Rooster Hawkins, we see him racing a lot. Danny, he's always on the gas. Kenny Carmichael, come from stock cars to run sprint cars, doing a fine job this year. Trey House, he's changed around chassis. He's got a Jenkins tonight, trying to get it going, but he's bolting in because he knows the racing's going to be rough and tumble tonight.
There's Jason McCord in a Contos Racing. That's a pretty race car. I've always liked the way they painted that race car. Jason, he doesn't run on the dirt too often. There's John Stanbro, another family deal. Joyce Stanbro, his mother, is always at the racetrack. John always runs quick. Tony Elliott, one of the Kokomo connection. He's down here. He wants to get some of that money.
Kevin Thomas, the money racer. This guy drives, comes up when the big money's up, and goes to the front. But who's this guy? Sheldon Kinzer Jr., just like his old man, spitting image of him.
Dr. Tom Black, another father and son team. There's Brian Black in his sprint car. Jack Hewitt, he's a second-generation driver deal.
Hewitt, his father, Don, comes from longtime Eldora. Jack's driving his own number 11 car, supported by his wife, Jody. Cool Tool, Robbie Rice, one of the new young guns coming out, son of Larry Rice, Indy 500 Rookie of the Year. Bobby Kinzer, father of Steve. What can you say about that? There is talent here tonight. Watch out!
I love these shots, deal. There goes Nick Adams. How do you do that?
We get on the ground and duck real low. Jason McCord coming in, and it is time to hot lap and qualify. Billy Rose running around. Brian Hayden trying the low line. Kevin Thomas trying the middle of the track. Looks like he's hooking up pretty good. Danny, these guys are new to it. How do you find the track? Try a couple lines and see which one's best?
Deal, you find one of the fast guys and you follow him like Kurt the Rooster Hawkins. Brian Black a little sideways in front of the Smith boys. Look out, guys.
Well, it's a halt to hot laps and qualifying. The fans are restless. It's time to feed the kids. It's time to get your national speed sport news. Find your seat and sit down because it's qualifying. Richard Thompson driving around, slides it, smokes a tire in 4, almost gets in the infield and catches a tow truck. Kevin Thomas, good qualifier, goes in, puts the wheel right on the cushion. He's got a pretty good line going, Danny.
Kevin Thomas at the top. Look out, he lifted that left rear. He's fighting that wheel.
Denny Martini gets her loose, turns it around, goes to the right, goes to the left, goes to the right. That's a tank slapper.
Jason McCord in that beautiful Contos car. I love the way that car's painted. He's on the cushion. Look out, he's got it sideways, around, and he parks it.
Derek Davidson, young gun. Competition welding car, sticks the right rear on the cushion, drives around, comes down a little bit, jumps it coming off. Derek's looking for the line, Danny. Looks pretty good down in one. Pulls up the front end, jumps it in two. John Stanbro, always a good qualifier.
John Stanbro in the Law Brothers car, a little bit above the cushion, always runs strong no matter where he goes. Stanbro hits that hole that's in number one. It throws him above the cushion. He's struggling. He's trying to find a cushion down in 3 and 4. He finds a deal. He's going to get a good lap on this time around.
Billy Rose in his Stealth Mobile, drives in the backstretch, sets it up into 3, catches the cushion pretty good. Good drive down the straightaway into turn 1, sets it up a little low on the cushion. Billy's got a pretty good lap here, but it looks like he's hanging it a little bit sideways, Danny.
Bill Rose in that Carl Bryant, number 6, above the cushion, a nice lap. Dwayne Spilley in that 71, a purple car. He gets her sideways, smokes a tire, turns it around, 360, keeps it going. I think he's all right.
Dwayne gassed it up, goes away. Danny, heat race action during sprint week is always deep, serious, hard racing. Look at this. It looks like they're coming down for the green flag. Butch Winings gets in a guy, Jack Hewitt down low, little rubbing and racing. Another heat race, Kent Christian in the Newkirk car. Going into the turn, Brian Hayden, Tony Elliott, Richard Thompson down low, Derek Davidson back there. Hayden gets a good drive. There's racing all over. Davidson catches the wheel, rolls it up, and Tommy Tipover.
A lot of racing in the pack. The Cheesehead, Dean Billings in a 96 car, Shelton Kinzer Jr., Kurt the Rooster Hawkins. They're all battling for a transfer spot. Billy Rose at the top. There's racing all over this racetrack. They're carrying it down in the number 1 corner. I don't know if they're going to get through this corner and safely, and those Cheesehead spins it out and takes Shelton Kinzer with him.
More racing action. Jason McCord all over Tony Jarrett. Augie O'Banion in a big wheelie down the backstretch. John Stanbro behind him. Kevin Thomas, Sheldon Kinzer. Folks, this is the B main, not the A main. We got hot dogs starting on the front row of the suitcase race.
It comes down to Dave Darlin, Kevin Thomas battling for that transfer spot.
Down into turn 1. Thomas on the bottom, Darlin on the top. These two guys, feature winners, track champions, racing for the transfer position into the main event. Darlin Thomas coming around. They both will go on to the feature, Danny.
What's that? It's feature racing time, race fans. Tony Elliott starting on the pole. Butch Winings on the outside. They go down in the first corner.
Down they go. Elliott's got the lead. Rose tries to make a move, gets blocked by Winings. Stanbro working the low line. Back in the pack. Trey House, Dave Darlin, Kevin Thomas. Your leader, Tony Elliott, the veteran, checking out. Winings runs second. Back in the pack. Derek Davidson moving up. Billy Rose catches the wheel. Flips over Butch Winings. Gets T-boned by Kevin Thomas. Brad Marvel gets trapped. Red flag comes out. Have a little scoring discussion going on here, Danny, with Jack Hewitt. He thinks he wants to be there.
Well, these guys are discussing what should be in what position, who, what, whatever. A little push there, but we go back to racing, and it's the same lineup. Tony Elliott, Butch Winings, Trey House, John Stanbro. They're racing hard.
Tight action. Stanbro gets some traction down low, pulls the wheels up, goes to the bottom. Thomas pushing up the top. Hayden going through the middle of the infield. 3 abreast, 4 abreast. Danny, they're everywhere. But Elliott is checking out on them. These guys are spending too much time racing each other. Winings comes down, blocks off Darlin. Hayden gets a drive down on the bottom. Lots of serious racers back behind these guys.
Brake check for Augie O'Banion into Mike Mann, but our leader continues to be Tony Elliott. He's on the top of the racetrack. Trey House is at the bottom.
Running in third place, Kevin Thomas working the top. Dave Darlin, John Stanbro back there. Elliott starting to get run down by House, Thomas, Darlin, Stanbro, Hewitt, Derek Davidson. Derek's the guy to watch. Elliott's making it look easy, sliding around on the top. Danny, the bottom of the track's gone away, and there goes Kevin Thomas.
Kevin Thomas slides up in front of Trey House. Trey House says, hey man, I want that position. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Is he going to be able to get a hold of the racetrack and get ahead of Kevin Thomas? He pushes up a little bit. Kevin gets a run off the corner.
These guys are racing for second place, third place. Darlin, a slide job on House. He worked the last time with Kevin Thomas. Dave Darland says, I'll take that line too. House back down to the bottom, trying to make that Jenkins car hook up, but there's no miracles in Twin Cities tonight. Dave Darland, a flat right rear. He's history, he's pulling her off. But Tony Elliott, cruising around to the white flag, Danny. Kevin Thomas has caught him. They've got traffic. Elliott's on the top. Thomas goes to the middle, slides up. What's going to happen? Elliott takes a look, goes to the top of Brad Marvel. Bobby Kinser's on the bottom. Thomas gets a challenge off of Trey House, but your winner is
Tony Elliott, followed by Kevin Thomas, Trey House, Jack Hewitt, Brian Hayden.
next night of Indiana Sprint Week, Bloomington, Indiana, the high banks of Bloomington. A lot of the guys race there, so it's a more of a home track for a bunch of these guys. But Danny, last night, the first race, the veterans brought home the bacon.
North Vernon, new track, the veterans brought home the bacon, Dio. But look out for those new guys like Billy Peterball, Kurt the Rooster Hawkins. They put on a show.
Race number 2, Indiana Sprint Week, Bloomington Speedway, Bloomington, Indiana. Danny, the fans are coming out because they love this racing. They're in the parking lot, they're in the grandstand, we're getting the track ready, and we're going to be going heat racing here pretty shortly. But first of all, Danny, what do you got to buy at Bloomington?
Deal, you've got to buy one of those 50-50 tickets. Buy one, you got money in your pocket. Heat race action, Bobby Kinser, Brad Marvel, Brian Hayden, down in the number 1 corner. Bobby Kinser gets the lead. Jason McCord battling with Trey House, Billy Peterball at the bottom, the rest of the race cars at the top.
Run around here, Bobby Kinser, the old man, what a veteran, what a racer. But look at this racing. Hayden, McCord, they're all over the place. Hayden's on the bottom, McCord's on the top. Marvel's trying to get around Kinser, gets a drive, can't quite get around him, sticks it underneath. Bill Hedges in the back trying to go anywhere. Marvel slides back. Trey House, Nat Jenkins trying to get a hold of something, still slipping on them apples.
Racetrack's in great shape. Brian Hayden goes to the bottom, grabs hold of moisture. Jason McCord at the top, but Brian Hayden continues to lead. Bobby Kinser hold on to second. Brad Marvel back into second place.
Back in the pack, Hedges, McCord mixing it up. Trey House trying to get around Bobby Kinser. Oh, Bill Hedges is off in the toolies, coming around. Comes back to join the race, and he's lost a lot of positions. Heat racing, young guns. Robbie Rice off the top. Racing with Derek Davidson, but Rice is going to have to start over. Here we go. We are semi-racing. Transfer, number 1. Into the front, Robbie Rice, followed by Peterball. Back to pack, bunch of guys. Mike Mann gets a drive, does a little wheel hop going into 3. Coming off the 4, Peterball underneath, and Terry Fletch turns it over again, and Richard Thompson wants to join in on the fun.
Start number 2. Robbie Rice leads him down, grabs the lead. Billy Peterball on the outside, Mike Mann down at the bottom. Nick Adams at the top.
Racing down the back stretch, Robbie Rice not quite fast enough for Mike Mann. Nick Adams goes off the top. Eric Byrne spins it around. Brian Black gets into him, tips over, mauls him, rolls over. Race drivers don't do this. When you're falling over, a stupid fall over, don't put your hands on the roll cage because these race cars are heavy and you get to lift it off yourself. Here we go, Danny. Another start to the semi.
Restart number 3. Robbie Rice gets the lead. But look out, guys. Mike Mann, then Jason McCord does an end over. Ends his night.
Start number 4. Robbie Rice gets a jump. Over Peterball second. Dave Pepperak in the pack. Down into 1. Pepperak looking. Rice has got the lead. Peterball on the bottom, trying to get around him. Picks up a little bit, but Bill Hedges goes off, checks out the field again. Let's try it again, Danny.
Restart number 5. They actually got it started. They transferred 2 cars to the A feature.
Indiana Sprint Week, race number 2 on the front row. John Stanbro, Mike Mann, Kurt Hawkins, Derek Davidson coming down, pacing down. Peterball, Darland in the 3rd row, coming up to the front. Here comes Stanbro down. He goes for the bottom, get a hold of moisture, gets a pretty good start coming off the 1. Mann drops down to the bottom, protects second. Derek Davidson goes to the middle, And there's some serious racing in the middle of the pack.
In the middle of the pack, Kevin Thomas trading aluminum with Tony Elliott. Serious racing in the pack.
3 abreast going into 1. Stanbro's got the lead.
Kent Christian and Newkirk number 17 trying to make a move. Kevin Thomas trying to get underneath the Billy Peterball, but our leader continues to be 77 Law Brothers, John Stanbro.
Back in the pack, House dropping in line, trying to go somewhere. Hawkins, a little smoke coming off that car, but Hawkins has snuck into the lead, run that low line, which is unusual for him. Billy Peterball Jr. is taking second, and Kevin Thomas snooping on that bottom. He's smelling money. Hawkins driving good, cruising. Nice lead over Peterball back in the pack. Dave Darling trying to high line around Mike Mann. Gets a good drive, pulls off. Racetracks everywhere. Hawkins on the bottom, playing huggy pole.
Kurt Hawkins, Billy Peterball on the bottom. That's unusual, but what's not unusual, Dave Darling at the top. He's working that top. Kevin Thomas at the bottom, Mr. Huggy Pole. He gets a good run off the corner. He gets a position. Dave Darling's at the top. The 2 guys that always run the bottom and the top are still doing it. Kevin Thomas on the bottom, Dave Darling at the top. Kurt the Rooster Hawkins is still leading.
Derek Davidson gets her upside down, flips over, tears up his car. 2 flips and 2 nights for Davidson. Restart. Kevin Thomas moves up on Hawkins, pokes it down underneath, roots him up off the huggy pole, drives around, takes the lead from the Rooster Hawkins. Hawkins moves up to the middle of the track, but KT's hooked up on the bottom, and he's on his way to the bank. Cruising around 4. Hawkins riding in second, coming down the line. It's Kevin Thomas.
Indiana Sprint Week number 2, Bloomington, Indiana. Kevin Thomas, Kurt Hawkins, John Stambro, Dave Darlin, Kent Christian.
Well, race fans, the third night of racing, we all went down to Keith Ford's Paragon Speedway out in the middle of the farmlands. Beautiful racetrack. Keith keeps it up well. Everybody says that this is 2 drag strips connected by a couple turns. But a lot of people like the surface and the shape, Danny.
Well, even old DT here, Dirt Track Danny, likes Paragon Speedway. It's a nice racetrack. Put on a good show, but now Kevin Thomas leads the series. Is he going to win it?
Sprint Week number 3, Paragon Speedway, Paragon, Indiana, built out in the farm country, Danny.
Another good car count.
Indiana Sprint Week, feature number 3, Paragon Speedway, Trey House on the front row with Kevin Thomas, Bobby Kinzer, Todd Kelly, Mike Mann, Blake Hollingsworth, Sheldon Kinzer Jr. up there, coming down for the green flag. Hope nobody goes in the lake. Blake gets up on the hill, green flag. House shoots off in the lead. Bobby Kinzer goes to the bottom. Kelly to the top. Looks like the bottom's the way to go here, Danny. Most of these guys are down there. House pulling out in the lead. Mike Mann riding in fourth, getting some pressure, getting some wheel banging there. Sheldon Kinzer beating on Blake Hollingsworth. Gray House still got the lead, but what about this race in second?
Tremendous racing in the second. Kevin Thomas running in the middle of the racetrack. Bobby Kinzer trying to get around Trey House. But look at the guy in the number 3 car at the top of the racetrack. He gets a good move off the corner. There's 3 cars. Bobby Kinzer gets a lead, but look at Kevin Thomas. He says, Bobby, I want that lead, but he goes down to the bottom, Dio.
Well, Danny, KT won on the bottom at Bloomington. He's going to the top to show what it's like on the top, that he is ambidextrous and can drive high line, low line, and he's racing with Bobby Kinzer. And the top looks like it's working. Kinzer down low, loads the car the wrong way. Kevin gets a drive, pulls up, runs across the moisture, pulls out ahead of Bobby Kinzer a little bit. Bobby Kinzer is back in second place at Paragon. Back behind him, Mike Mann and a bunch of the boys. They're hungry. Here comes John Stanbro sneaking around the top with Trey House. He's working his way back from the pole to be racing back there. Leader Thomas. Billy Rose, a fine drive in second. Gotten ahead of Bobby Kinzer. Bobby Kinzer driving the Franklin Power car in third. Mike Mann in fourth. But Kevin Thomas coming down. Looks like he's drooping in the right rear. Back in the pack, Stanbro has worked his way up to fourth place, Danny. Around the top of Mike Mann. He's trying to get a drive off. Check out KT's car. It looks like the right rear's getting soft on it. Looks like it's going down. Stanbro's in second now. Billy Rose in third.
Billy Rose running the middle of the racetrack down the back straightaway, but he drops down to the huggy pole trying to get around John Stanbro.
But when it's all said and done, Professor Kevin Thomas is the winner with a flat right rear tire. Kevin Thomas is followed by John Stanbro, Billy Rose, Mike Mann, and Blake Hollingsworth. You know, the series come to an end at Kokomo Speedway. A quick tip of the hat to Kent Evans. He's put in new lights, new creature comforts, a lot of things for the racers and the race fans. He's trying to make racing comfortable for everybody, so thank you, Kent, for that. Everybody's smiling, and it's time to go qualifying.
Kurt the Rooster Hawkins, he's always exciting when he qualifies. Look at him lift that left front. He's powering off the corner. But that's nothing, race fans. Look at him lift both wheels, the front end off the ground. Kurt the Rooster Hawkins, what a driver.
You have to give him a new name, Mr. Showtime. Dave Darlin, track champion, drives for Early Wine Valvoline, transferring a lot of weight, getting it through pretty clean. Good lap for Darlin. Chris Beaver in his 360. Jumps it up a little bit. Chris gets a lot of speed out of this little motor. But folks, racing's all about family. The Darlin folks are here getting dialed in. Hayden's sister checking things out while Hayden gets his car ready. Skinyon sitting there chewing. But then there's Guy Appleby and his driver, Kevin Thomas. What a pair.
John Stanbro's mother, girlfriend, car owners' wives. There's a sprint car, and we got sprint car action coming up.
The fans are packed. They're ready for heat racing Danny coming down. Billy Rose gets the green flag, takes it into one, but back in the pack, Gary Pletch gets into Jamie Fredrickson. Pletch gets to buy some more radius rods. Coming down for the semi, another green flag. Back in the pack, Jamie Fredrickson tips her over big. This is what we waited for. The final, number 4, Sheldon Kinzer Jr. on the pole. Coming down, Mike Mann outside, Tony Elliott, Brian Hayden, Dave Darlin.
Brian Hayden on the inside, lifting that left front. Dave Darlin up high, Tony Elliott at the bottom. Racing everywhere on this 1/4 mile dirt track.
Coming down, it's Hawkins. Marvel running back in the pack. Kinzer still got the lead, but Mike Mann uses the low line, gets the lead in his hometown track for number 4 Indiana Sprint Week. He's going for some big money. Hayden back in the pack, racing with Elliott, Hawkins, and there is Derek Davidson battling with Kevin Thomas. Leader Mann on the bottom, Kinzer on the bottom, Elliott. They're all on the bottom. Darlin, Marvel. It is huggy pole night. But there goes Hawkins to the top. He's going to try to do something. Mann still got the lead. He's pulling out a fine lead over Kinzer. But for third, it's Elliott, Darlin, Marvel, Davidson. Davidson sticks his nose underneath. Gets shut down by Marvel. Up front, Darlin to the top. Elliott on the bottom. This is a typical night of racing at Kokomo. And Dave Darlin hooks the tires, tips it over, and crashes his Early Wine Racer. But he's all right.
On the restart, Mike Mann holds on to the lead, but going to the top is Tony Elliott, the veteran. He's won 5 track championships. Cowboy in it is Derek Davidson. Tony Elliott holds on to second. Sheldon Kinzer wants second. Can he get it? There goes Brad Marvel into second. Tremendous racing. Derek Davidson into the wall. I think that's going to hurt him.
Well, can't help him. He's got to bend something up, but Mike Mann's got the lead. He's pulling out a train length over Tony Elliott. Sheldon Kinzer Jr.'s third, but there goes Kevin Thomas on the huggy pole into the 3rd place. He's trying to nail down the points championship. 1 lap to go. Mann's got a big lead on his hometown fans. Tony Elliott's riding around in second. Mann pulls the wheels going down the back stretch. Back behind him, what's shaking out? Elliott's on the top. Can't do anything. Mann comes home. A great win for Mike Mann. Local hero Mike Mann was followed by another hero, Tony Elliott, Kevin Thomas, Sheldon Kinzer Jr., and Kurt Hawkins. Kevin Thomas is your 1995 Indiana Sprint Week champion. Hey, welcome to Racing with Dio. We're here on camera for a change at the Early Wine Racing with Dio Fan Appreciation Day at Kokomo Speedway. And it's a beautiful day. Dirt Track Danny's with me. Danny, what a day, huh?
Beautiful day here. It's rained all weekend. Got the brickyard in yesterday. We're going to have some racing here at the Evans Kokomo Speedway.
That's right. It's not going to be like the Brickyard where everybody gets caught out. Everybody's going to be here for the race. As you can see behind us, we got lots of race cars over here in the tent behind the Queen shooting this. We got heroes and hot dogs. And it's going to be just one hell of a day. And the winner's going to get $3,000. And he gets to go against run Frankie Kerr down at the U.S. Dirt Track Nationals October 13th. 3 laps, $3,000. And it's going to be an exciting day. Any pre-race favorites, Danny?
Well, I'd have to go with that 96 Danny Williams Jr., but Tony Elliott, Dave Darlin, Tony Jarrett, all the guys that run up here normally, you've got to go with those guys.
Well, you know, I don't think there's any clear favorite because the level of competition that we got in our little sprint car series here in the Midwest is 10, 15 cars deep, easy for the win. So there's not going to be any one set winner. So hang on, take a look, and we're going to show you some highlights of Racing with Dio Day at Kokomo. Woo, racing!
Race fans looking for racing souvenirs, this one's got a nice poster. And this is what Brad and Pat, the announcers, had to say about the racing action here at Evans Kokomo Speedway.
Well, I'll tell you, it's very exciting to be here. The first Racing with Dio Classic was probably the best race of the year, I thought, Brad, at Bloomington last year. We've had good car counts here. I think this is really going to bring them up today.
Well, of course, the winner of tonight's show gets to go at Terre Haute against Frankie Kerr. He won that big first Dio racing show, and we'll get one here tonight. And we'll be back down at Bloomington in October for yet another big show down there. So Dio and Early Wine doing a lot of great things, making this sport of racing, sprint car racing in particular, really grow strong. We invite you to come on out.
Well, a lot of good camaraderie here between the drivers. Obviously, we got Sexy Rex back there cooking up the hot dogs, and Brad Marvel, Dave Darlin, Brian Black, Dr. Black, some of the drivers, Danny Williams Jr. here with us, hanging out with the fans, and I think that's what makes this sport so great. No separation between the fans and the stars like there is in other professional sports. These guys out here hanging out, and I think that makes it tremendous. And, boy, we're really looking forward to tonight's activity. I think the car count's going to be great.
Car count's going to be great. The heroes are going to be great. We got a lot of heroes out there. You can go down through the list. Jarrett, Darlin, House, Davidson, they're all here. Hawkins, boy, they're all here tonight, and they'll all be
Jim
here.
Viviano's here.
Oh, my goodness, we got them all. So make sure you come out and see one of those fine Racing with Dio shows.
Well, you know, racing at Kokomo, even the kids, Danny, are getting set up, working their racetrack in, and getting ready for a fine day here for the Racing with Dio Early Wine Fan Appreciation Day, Hero and Hot Dog Cookout.
Some good racing action in the pack. There's Gary Fisher. Oh, look out, there's
Russ Freeland.
up into the fence and back down. I hope he's okay.
Here's a home video angle of that. Take a look at this and watch the wheel fence work. Must be race time. The crowd is running to their seats.
Race fans on their feet, waving their hats and their programs for the start of Racing with Dio Race Fest #1.
Winner of this, Danny, goes to Terre Haute, Indiana for the U.S. Dirt Nationals. 3 laps, $3,000 against Frankie Kerr, and the winner at Bloomington. There's some serious competition up front. On the front row, Kevin Thomas, Chris Beaver, Billy Rose back there. Thomas gets the lead, heads for the bottom, and he's chased by Rose and Beaver, Darlin, Kinzer, and Mike Band.
There goes Darling getting a big wheelie, and Beaver's in third and bumping into Bill Rose. Mike Mann on 2 wheels, racing everywhere on this 1/4 mile dirt oval.
Thomas comes by to lead lap 1, but back in the pack, Brad Marvel, Robbie Rice working back there. Rose is all over Thomas, but it's early in the race. Thomas is pulled out. Rose is trying to work the bottom. Thomas going through the bumps where there is some moisture, trying to get a hold of things and go on. But back in the pack, Danny, Double D, Derek Davidson and Kurt the Rooster Hawkins working hard. Davidson has run Kokomo a lot. He likes it up to the top. He's got an old competition welding, and he stands on the gas, and he's working Shelton Kinzer Jr. at the moment.
Derek Davidson likes to cowboy that sprint car. Look at that action. He's trying to get around Shelton Kinzer Jr. Wheelies all over the place.
And leader Kevin Thomas, they're going into 3. Leader's going into 1. Davidson has got some ground to make up. Billy Rose looking good. Dave Darlin's running a good solid third in the early wine car. But back in the pack, look at that wheelie. Yeehaw! Spur him up, boy.
Looks like one of those California wheelie contests. Mike Mann says, I can outdo that. He gets a wheelie down the back straightaway. Double D, Derek Davidson on the outside. He's hitting the hose. He's getting sideways. There's a lot of action. And Gary Fisher hits the marker tire and does a couple of barrel rolls.
Fisher used to drive for Kent Evans. Now he's got his own car and tripped over the tire. Gary Fisher's all right. He'd go for the hospital to get a little checkup. Car's tore up. Any race driver looks at their equipment. But Fisher will be back to race another day. Coming down to the restart, Danny, Kevin Thomas, Bill Rose, Dave Darling, Chris Beaver. He's still got laps to go. Who has got the combination?
Bill Rose running up on the top. And there's a couple of cars together. Mike Mann and Chris Beaver. Who's going to get the position? Mike Mann gets it, but look who's sneaking up there. Double D, Derek Davidson in the hose. Is he going to get one car? He gets one car. Is he going to get two? He gets two. He's on the move, Dio.
Davidson headed to the front in that old competition welding car. He likes the track. He likes it. There's the leader, Kevin Thomas. He's starting to reel him in, Danny. Billy Rose second. Dave Darling trying to top him third. Mike Mann, Derek Davidson, Chris Beaver, and Sheldon Kinzer. Kurt Hawkins. But your leader is still Kevin Thomas.
Kevin Thomas likes that huggy pole. Bill Rose does too. And look who's down at the bottom. Derek Davidson. He's in third. A little bit of an action there against a rear bumper. Is Davidson going to go to the top or is he going to stay at the bottom? He slides up to the top. He's working that top. He's going to work on Bill Rose. Rose on the bottom. Rose holds on to the position.
Rose in that J&J. He likes it well. He's having a good run. Darlin trying to get back at position from Davidson, but Davidson's just wrestling that thing, trying to catch up with Bill Rose to get second place. Davidson still working through the holes in the top, not gaining. Darlin slides underneath him. What's happening here? Is he going to get around him, Danny?
Well, it's unusual to see Dave Darlin at the bottom. Derek Davidson holds on to position. He's probably going to run back up to the top in 3 and 4, and our leader continues to be Kevin Thomas on the huggy pole.
Thomas pulling out a pretty good lead. Big lead over these two. Coming down around the top through the hold. It's Derek Davidson bouncing around. Drives around the outside. Billy Rose gets hooked up. Drives away into second place. But Kevin Thomas is coming around, coming up on Brian Black.
On the white flag lap, Derek Davidson's trying to get around Jeff O'Banion to battle with Kevin Thomas. I don't think there's enough time for Derek Davidson to get up there and get that position. He's trying as hard as he can. But when it's all said and done, coming down for the checker flag, Kevin Thomas.
Kevin Thomas wins race number 1 of the DO Racing Fest. We're down in Victory Lane checking him out, and there's KT.
Good job, KT.
Thank you, Dio. Thank you. Happy car. Good car.
Kevin Thomas was followed by Derek Davidson, Billy Rose, Dave Darlin, and Mike Mann. There's our dirt track Danny doing the McGilvery C main presentation and doing the Tigers B main presentation to Jack Hewitt. What a man. I was talking about Hewitt, Danny.
I thought you was talking about Alan Kiger there, Dio. He's a single man, ladies.
Here we go, race fans. Racing with Dio, Racing Fest number 2, takes the green flag. Kevin Thomas, your pole sitter, goes to the bottom, takes the early lead. Sheldon Kinzer Jr. goes into second. Stanbro and Elliott battling for third and fourth, Danny.
You've got the Hoffmobiles, Bill Rose, but the leader continues to be Kevin Thomas at the top. But there's the man, Tony Elliott, brushing him off, grabbing the lead. He's running real hard. He's running in the middle of the racetrack. Can he hold on to this lead?
Elliott driving the Hazelmobile, but a red flag comes out because Frankie Kerr's tipped over. This is the man that's the winner of this race, and Kokomo's got a run against the Terre Haute. Racetrack was made in the day. We're running at night. A lot of adjustments going on here. What's going to happen on the restart? Elliott still got the lead, Danny.
Elliott made the right decision. He holds on to the lead. Kevin Thomas, a little bit of a push there. Shelton Kinzer Jr. trying to get around him. I don't know if he can do it. Kevin's a real smart driver. In the back, we've got Brian Hayden making a big move on Troy Link down at the bottom. The bottom seems to be the place to be now, Dio.
Well, Hayden crashed his car the night before, threw this car together. He's running in 14th, trying to go forward. Elliott, your leader, Thomas, Kinzer, Stanbro, Billy Rose, and Dave Darlin, and Rusty McClure. Rusty McClure in the Newkirk car driving around there. Darlin in the Hoffman car. Down into turn 3. McClure goes underneath Darlin. Little bump job.
Little bumping and grinding there. Darlin off the racetrack. He may lose the position of Brad Fox, but he holds on.
Jack Hewitt's jumped the cush, backed it in the wall coming off before. Restart, Danny. Another chance. It's Elliott, Thomas, Kinzer, Stanbro. Is something going to change? They're still running the middle of the track, the top part. Back in the pack. Kevin Briscoe's on the move. So's Brian Hayden. Both these guys are on Hoosier tires. Hayden's worked his way up to 13th place. He's got a long ways to go to get to the front. Elliott's got the lead. Thomas is second. Kinzer, Stanbro, Darlin, Billy Rose. John Stanbro's looking good in the Law Brothers cars.
Looks like all these guys are leaning on those right rears awful hard. This is a tire-eating racetrack. Are these tires going to hold?
Tires are a big question, Danny. McCrary brought their hardest things. Hoosier brought their hardest, but Tony Elliott's running out in the lead. Back in the pack, they're scraping. Ryan Hayden racing with Dave Pepperack, trying to get to the front, but Elliott has used up his tire, Danny. It's history. He's pulling in. He needs a right rear.
On the restart, Huggy Poe Thomas continues to lead, but back in the pack, Dave Darlin, Kevin Briscoe, Bill Rose, they're battling. Kevin Briscoe really leans on that right rear. Dio, I don't know if these guys are going to have any tires left.
Well, you know, tires are the major thing that hooks the car up, and these guys are working hard. Kevin Thomas driving around there. You know the track's rough when you see Kevin Thomas in a push. Darlin down low trying to get around Briscoe. Briscoe gets around him. Briscoe's on Hoosier tires. Little push. Look at him push in the middle. It is a tough racetrack to get around on tonight, Dan.
The Professor, Kevin Briscoe on the bottom, pushing it up into third, going for second place. The track's no longer a dirt track deal. It looks more like a rubber track. There's a lot of rubber on a racetrack. They're trying to get a hold of that rubber. I don't know if they can continue to do this and keep their tires under them.
Well, you know, Danny, we hear a lot of guys talk about how the rubber came in at the top, and that's what got them hooked up to get going. Briscoe's moving into second place. There's rubber on the bottom. There's rubber on the top. Briscoe's working on Thomas. Thomas is burning up that right front. It's pushing. It's loose. It's everything else. Look at it push there. Briscoe's got the Hoosiers. Thomas on McCrary's. We don't know which tires are better because they're both running in front. Stanbro's running third. Brian Hayden drives into fourth place. But Briscoe, Danny, like you said, has used up his tire. Coming on the restart, it's Thomas leading Stanbro and Brian Hayden.
We're down to the last stages of the races, and look at Brian Hayden at the bottom. He's searching for that moisture. Can he get up there and challenge Kevin Thomas? He's trying as hard as he can. Look out, Shelton Kinzer takes out half of the field.
Dave Darlin, the 69 car's broken. A bunch of other guys out there spinning around, doing the avoidance thing. Got to restart. 3 laps to go. It's Thomas, Stanbro, Hayden, Pepperack, Troy Link, and Peterball coming down. Hayden takes a look underneath Stanbro, goes to the bottom where there is some moisture. Is he going to get around Stanbro? Stanbro's got the momentum, pulls up even. I think Hayden is going to get the position and is going after Kevin Thomas, who's picked up a big push.
Kevin Thomas has got a bad push there. John Stanbro going after a position. Late in the race, coming to the white flag. Brian Hayden gets a good run off the corner. Is he going to get the lead? I think he will. And the rest of the field is trying to catch up with him, but they can't do it. Brian Hayden gets a good jump. He's working through 3 and 4. He's pulled out to a big lead, and he comes down and wins Racing with Dio Fest number 2.
Brian Hayden was followed by Kevin Thomas, John Stanbro, Dave Pepperack, and Troy Link. This is what it all come down to. U.S. Dirt Nationals, Terre Haute, Indiana, D.O. Dash for Cash. Frankie Kerr, a winner from last year. Brian Hayden, winner from Bloomington. Kevin Thomas, the winner from Kokomo. 3 laps, $3,000, Danny, and they're starting them 3 abreast. Here they come.
And the start has Kevin Thomas grabbing the lead. Frankie Kerr in second. Brian Hayden working at the bottom, trying to get a position. Kevin Thomas continues to lead. Frankie Kerr at the top. Brian Hayden in the second.
Down the backstretch. Kerr gets a good drive, goes into 3. Thomas goes up to the top. Kerr goes to the bottom, slides up. Little contact there, pushes KT out of the way. Frankie Kerr's got the lead. Coming down, I think it's going to be tough to handle him, Danny.
Frankie Kerr knows this racetrack inside and out. He's working that race car. He's working the racetrack, and he comes down for the win. The Racing with Dio win. Frankie Kerr, $3,000.
Okay, Frankie, it looked like it was a race for the Huggy Pole there on the start.
Well, I thought it was, but then he got to the bottom first, so I went to the top, and it turned out to be the right move. The curb's definitely the best place to be right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I went to the bottom, and as soon as I did, I knew I screwed up, and I should have stayed on the cushion, but live and learn, I reckon, you know what I mean?
Think it's worthwhile, 3 laps, $3,000?
Sure is. I'd like to have another shot at it.